episode 87 of the Popcorn Podcast. I'm Tommy Cresta, alongside me my co-host Ryan Ferran. Today we're here to talk about The Last of Us, episodes 6 and 7, along with Creed 3 and our first initial review of that. But before we get into both of those, I want to do a quick rundown of the news we got today because a lot of stuff happened today in the film industry. So, the first reviews of The Mandalorian have come out, and so far Rotten Tomatoes is sitting at 100% with 16 reviews. We got our first poster for Haunted Mansion with Owen Wilson, Jared Leto, Lakeith Stanfield, and Rosario Dawson. We then got not a trailer. We got a poster for Inside, the new Willem Dafoe movie, which super excited for that movie because it's laid just him the entire movie, which I think is gonna be crazy.
Movie looks pretty good too.
It does look creepy as fuck.
Yeah.
It's not a horror movie; it just looks frightening.
Yeah.
But that was a quick rundown of the news we got this week. Well, kind of today. And I know things are gonna sound weird because the next episode is going to also be episode 87 technically, because I didn't know we were going to do this one before the other one. So the next episode you guys will be getting is on March 8th, and that's going to be the Popcorn Oscars episode. But today, you will be getting this episode on Friday, March 3rd. Can't remember what day of the week it was. But so Ryan and me both rewatched episode 6. I rewatched episode 7.
Yeah.
I watched 6 and 7.
Yeah, I watched 6 right before you picked me up. So
yeah. Dude, so what are your initial thoughts before we really dive into episode 6? What are like your first thoughts on it?
On just 6?
Yeah, just 6. Because I was going to say let's do 6 and then do 7. Then we'll do.
I thought 6 was a really good episode from the start. I mean, it starts off. What does it start off with?
It starts off with them in the 3 months after the last episode.
Yeah. I thought that was really good. That it was a good time jump because it gives you some time. You know, it shows you Sam and what's his name?
Henry.
Yeah, this is a rough start.
Do you want me? Do you need more time to pull up the episode?
No, I got it. It starts off with them, and it gives you some time to see what's going on. I like the time skip. I thought it was done really well. And then we get right into the scene. It's Joel and Ellie talking, and then they go to bed, and you see Joel fall asleep, and you kind of see him. You see him while he's sleeping. He's mumbling in his sleep, and he wakes up pretty suddenly. Obviously, having nightmares, which leads into some stuff later in this episode. But you see Ellie kind of growing in her own even more. She wakes up early and she keeps watch, which Joel isn't very happy about. But it shows that Ellie is getting a little more, what's it called?
More mature and understanding her role.
Yeah. Almost responsible.
You skipped the whole scene.
I did skip the scene with the old people.
The old people.
Yeah, that was a great scene too.
I wrote some notes on.
All right, you talk about that then.
Yeah, so episode opens and we shows an older man coming back from a hunt. He has 2 rabbits with him. And he walks in and we see Joel is there waiting for him with a gun next to his wife. And I really enjoyed the scene.
Mm-hmm.
I thought the old couple was great comic relief for a show that doesn't have much humor throughout it. It has small bits and pieces every once in a while with some Bella Ramsey lines.
Yeah.
But all in all, I think that it was nice to have a scene that was just pretty much all happy and funny until they talk about the River of Death, which turns the whole comedic scene on its head.
Yeah.
But I do have to say, on rewatching these episodes, I did not skip the intro. It might be one of my favorite TV show intros.
Oh, I love it.
I adore it.
It's so simple, just showing the fungus growing, but the music too, just the real soft guitar playing. It's really good. It puts you in the mood for the show.
Yeah, it's very peaceful. And going off what you were saying when Joel has his panic attack, as they talk about later in this episode, you can see how nervous Ellie is. Because she's not only nervous for Joel, because she wants him to be okay, but at the same time, she says she cannot do this without him.
Yeah.
If Joel doesn't make it, she's fucked.
Yeah.
She's going to fucking die. She's a 15-year-old girl at this point.
Yeah. I was thinking, like, if Joel had croaked right there, you think the old people, do you think they would have taken care of her? If she walked back in and be like, hey, guys, listen.
There's a dead guy out front. I swear I didn't mean to steal your rabbit.
I'll give you your rabbit back, I promise. Just please.
No, I don't know what she would have done. I think Ellie would have tried to make it to Tommy. But I think
she wouldn't know where she was going.
I feel like she would have gotten herself killed somehow.
Probably. Well, I mean, she says, towards the end of the episode, she doesn't know where she's going. So I don't even know if she would have made it to Tommy.
No, I don't think she would have made there. I think she would have tried to make it there.
Yeah. Because I mean, she had the map, but reading a map is not easy.
I
So
know how to read a map.
big army boy.
Mhm. But yeah, I think this show continues to make me love these simple sequences, like when and Joel are sitting around the fire talking about where they want to go
Mhm.
and where they want to go if they can find if Ellie is really the cure to all of this.
Yeah,
I like how Joel's like, I want to farm with sheep
because they're quiet.
because they're quiet. And then you already talked about Ellie wakes up, which I really liked. Well, Ellie of course wakes up, but Joel wakes up and he gets mad at Ellie for not waking him up. And I wanted to say, I wrote this down in my notes. Again, to all of you people that are bashing Bella Ramsey, go fuck yourselves. I could give a shit, and if you bash Bella Ramsey, I don't want you listening to our show. Because fuck you.
Nice.
But I genuinely think this is one of my favorite episodes. Like,
Yeah,
and I
it's
didn't
up
think that when I liked 7 more than this the first time I watched 6,
there. Hmm.
and when I watched 7. But this show has such great they're back and forth, Joe and Ellie.
They
I
have
think
great chemistry.
it fit. Thank you. That was the word.
Yeah.
Their chemistry's so great. Like when she tries to figure out how to whistle,
Oh yeah,
and the whole time he's like,
yeah.
"Shut
Both
the."
times I watched that scene too, I tried to whistle. I still don't know how to do it.
You can't.
I can't whistle with my
Oh, you
fingers.
can't whistle your. I was gonna
Yeah.
say you can't.
I can whistle normally, but I can't do it with my fingers like they do.
I
I
can
never
barely. I
understood
can
how to do
barely
that.
do like a normal whistle. I
Really?
can do an inhaling whistle, but I can barely do one pushing
The
out.
inhalings are always they are higher pitched.
Yeah.
They always are.
Yeah.
I don't know how. I'm not a physics major,
You're
but you
like
know.
Joel trying to figure when he talks about the energy with the well, not the well, the fucking dam.
I would have loved to see them like crossing the river and Ellie's just trying to whistle to get his attention. Just blowing air.
But no, this show has done a great job with all the tension because you know that that dog is not going to notice that Ellie's infected. You know that.
Yeah, I didn't
Like
see
in your brain, you know, like in the moment, you're like, holy shit, what's going to happen? But
yeah.
you know, in the back of your
It's not
mind,
gonna end
it's
here.
not going to end here. But they were able to, even my second time watching, I'm like, Jesus Christ, like, please, God,
Yeah.
don't let this happen.
Mhm.
So that's another credit to, I think, Neil Druckmann and
Correct me, isn't
Craig Mazin, who have both done a great job being producing, directing, writing.
yeah. I think that scene with the dog was even more like it was a little nerve wracking with Ellie, but I think Joel's reaction to that even more so, where he's just you can see how scared he is in Pedro Pascal's face. Like he genuinely is like, if this dog sniffs her out, there's nothing he can do. They're both dead.
No,
That's it.
continue.
No, I'm
Oh. No, I agree because I think I wrote that I think the nonverbal communication in this episode is the highlight of it.
yeah,
Like, because throughout the episode, when Ellie says like, "Oh, we've been struggling recently," he kind of gives her like a side eye. Or when they talk about how they're communist, Joel gives Tommy
that
like
was
a
great.
look like, "What the fuck?" And just throughout the episodes, a lot of communication without a single line being said,
Yeah.
and that again goes back to fucking Craig Mazin.
Hmm.
But yeah, I know I'm kind of blowing through the episode right now, but
Yeah,
a lot of topics to talk about.
there are. But after that scene, they take him with them back to the commune, and I loved how fast he got to find Tommy. Like, I'm glad they didn't spend like 5 minutes with Joel like running around the town finding him. I'm glad they just walk in and he's like he just sees him working on something. But their reunion was really good.
It was really, it was nice. It was like
Yeah,
a nice little sweet moment.
yeah. I like how Joel runs to him and Tommy just kind of strolls over.
Yeah,
Because Tommy's like, I'm not running, I'm fine. But Joel's like, dude, it's been months. I've been looking for you, and
it's
he just
been
runs.
yeah. No, well, no, it's been years for him.
Has it?
Yeah,
Well, I mean, months of like the trip.
he's been yeah on the trip's been months and
Yeah.
months.
Well, I
But
guess no. The beginning, what was it? Like 3 weeks, wasn't it? That Tommy didn't radio. I thought that's all it was.
yeah, but he might have been there and still he was still trying to find him.
Yeah, he may have been
He
gone
was
for years. Yeah, yeah,
radioing
yeah.
him.
You're right.
But I do have a flaw with this episode.
Hmm.
It's not a huge thing, but I was not a fan of how much of an asshole Joe was to Tommy. Joel was to Tommy. Like he was so happy to see him, and then he tells him he's having a child, which I felt like Joel should have been like happy about. Like I know he's
Yeah.
gone through his own shit and lost his daughter Sarah, but I feel like that should have been like a moment for Joel. We've seen him grow over these episodes,
Hmm.
becoming more compassionate. Like I feel like it should have been a little more happy.
Yeah, I can
Just
see where you're
not
coming
anything
from.
crazy. He doesn't be like, "Oh my god, that's so amazing!" Like, but when he says like, "I think I'm gonna be a good dad," he should. I feel like it would have been better if he was just like, "You will." Like that's it.
Yeah, I
But
can see
he
where
was
you're
kind
coming
of
from
just a
with that.
dick about it.
He is kind of a dick. But I can also see where he's coming from with being a dick, and he's like, "Oh yeah, like I feel like it's almost less like it's not Joel being like you're not going to be a good dad. I feel like it's more almost selfishness from Joel being like, "Oh, good for you. You get to have a kid in this wonderful town now, and I've been roughing it for however knows how long. And now Tommy has just been living the good life, pretty much. I feel like it's almost more like selfishness from Joel
Yeah, and like
for a little
like
bit.
jealousy,
Yeah,
selfish.
yeah, that's a better word, jealousy.
No, and then so where are we at this point? They have that conversation. Oh, Ellie gets the clothes from Marie.
Yeah.
That's about where we're at, and she gets the menstrual tool.
Mhm.
We're guys. I don't really know how that
Oh,
tool. I don't know
I
how
had to
that
look
tool
that up.
works.
I don't know.
I didn't look it up because I don't need to know.
I looked it up. I was like, "What the hell is that?" It's the
Does it
second
make
time I
any
saw it.
sense?
Yeah,
How's it work? Well, now I want to
I'm
know.
not gonna explain it.
Yeah, explain it. I want. Just give
I
me
don't
like
want to.
a
You
short.
look it up.
I don't. But
Look
you
up a video.
no. But I really enjoyed the scene between Ellie and Marie when she's cutting her hair,
Hmm.
and she pretty much slips that Sarah was Joel's daughter,
Yeah,
and you can see it on Ellie's face right away that she's like, she's kind of shocked that Joel wouldn't tell her that, but at the same time, like what are you doing over
these
there?
kids are all older than us.
What kids?
They're kids.
Oh, well,
Maria's
yeah, they're
in.
born 1989.
Sarah was born in '89. Kevin was born in 2000, so he was
Oh, he was
3.
3 years old.
Yeah,
That I didn't look at his age. I was just
I
making sure.
just
I just
I
wanted to
just
know.
paused it on there. That's
That's horrible.
oh man.
Damn, poor Marie.
Mhm.
But
Is it Maria? I'm kind of just throwing that name out there. I'm pretty sure it's Maria.
it's Maria.
I think.
I only
Give me a
wrote
sec.
her name down once, and I didn't feel like rewinding the episode to figure out how it
Give me
was.
a sec.
I just said Marie. You might be right. You probably are right.
I think so.
Well, while you're looking for that, my favorite scene in
Yeah,
the
Maria.
entire
All right, cool, cool,
is it
cool.
Marie?
Maria.
It is Maria. Okay, Ellie and Maria's scene when she's cutting her hair, and they talk about Maria talks about what she had done. She was an assistant district attorney, and she tells Ellie that she should be weary of who she trusts in this
Yeah.
because Joel. We know Joel wasn't the best human being in the world,
Hmm.
but everything he did was to survive.
Yeah.
Which at that in I think if any of us get put in this situation, like what he's been through and what the world's been through, I think we're all kind of gonna. I don't think anyone's gonna be like a saint.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna. I don't judge him off that, and I don't think Ellie does either because she's been roughing it with him these last couple months,
Yeah.
so she understands what it's gonna be like. And
Hmm.
I think Maria doesn't. She's been in this place for 7 years now.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely more backstory because it's been 20 years since 2003 when it all happened. So she still had 13 years of doing whatever she was doing. So I'm sure she has, maybe she just went straight to a QZ and didn't have to do a bunch of bad stuff like Joel and Tommy did. I don't know. There isn't really that backstory yet, but yeah, I know what you're saying. Like, you got to do what you got to do to survive, especially in this world where people are just fending for themselves, really. So you can't judge them off that.
Yeah, no. And then it gets to my favorite scene of the episode, which is when Tommy goes and finds Joel at the store, and Joel's trying to fix his boots, which
Hmm.
they show you earlier in the episodes when he's duct taping them.
Yeah.
And then Pedro Pascal gives this amazing monologue about his experience with Ellie and what happened to Tess and all this stuff because he had lied to Tommy earlier and said Tess was fine.
Yeah.
And he pretty much tells him, "I can't protect her anymore. I'm too old. I'm too fucking deaf,"
Yep.
which is what he says. And you feel for him because he wants to help her
Hmm.
because he's grown this connection to Ellie, but he can't. He doesn't think he has that capability anymore, which is a bit of a foreshadowing, which happens at the end of the episode.
Yeah. I agree. And I love the acting in the scene, especially from Pedro Pascal, because the whole time he's saying, when he's kind of like letting everything out and telling Tommy how weak he's been lately, he's looking at the floor the whole time. Like he's ashamed to say this to Tommy. But then when he finally tears up and he starts asking Tommy for help protecting Ellie, he looks him dead in the eye and he's like, "You need to help me with this. Like, he's not ashamed anymore. He's just like, this is what needs to happen. You need to take this girl.
And
So
then
the acting in this scene from both of them, but especially Pedro Pascal, was fantastic.
yeah, and then he even brings up Tommy's child. He's like, "You want to bring your child into a better world?" He's like, "She's the answer to the better world."
Yeah.
Which is kind of a fuck thing to do. You knew as soon as he knew what he was doing. He knew if he brought up the child, he would get what he wanted.
Yeah, pretty much.
But Ellie is overhearing all of this
Hmm.
as she was trying to find Joel, and Joel eventually goes back to the place that they're staying at, the house, and him and Ellie have this horrible argument where I felt for both characters, and I was agreeing with both sides and what they had to say. Like, you good? Good. Okay, and Ellie explains like I'm not her. And as soon as she said that, Joel had like an expression change,
Yeah.
like he didn't want to fight. But
Hmm.
then as soon as she said that, it like hit like a spot with him.
The fighting words.
Those are fighting words for him. And right away, his whole demeanor changed, and he just didn't want to hear anything else from her.
Yeah.
And he slams the door and he leaves. And all Joel was just trying to do is that he was just trying to explain to her that he can't help her anymore.
Hmm.
And yeah,
Yeah. And I like that he starts off by saying, before the whole argument really strikes out, but Joel says, "What are you so afraid of?" And because in the last episode, Ellie had told Sam that she's really afraid of being alone. So I think Joel saying that to her really made her be like, I'm not your daughter. I get it. She had to be honest with Joel and so that he would understand, like, you can't leave me. You're all that I have at this point. So we need to stick together, which Joel does not reciprocate in that moment. But
no, he does not. And he tells Ellie that Tommy's gonna be there at dawn.
Mhm.
And when Ellie's getting ready to leave, her and Tommy go to the horses, and baby, the zaddy of the internet, Pedro Pascal's waiting for them, baby. I have watched way too many interviews of him this week,
Yes, you have.
but he is one beautiful son of a bitch. And he gives her one last chance. He's like, "Fine." He's like, "You can come with me or Tommy." And right away, she hops on the horse with him,
Yeah.
and she's all ready to go. And then I'm not gonna lie, we get another great scene where he's trying to teach her how to shoot,
Hmm.
and she's just not doing it. She's struggling.
Yeah.
And he hits the shot, and they pan to what they were shooting at, and it's a thing that says asshole, and he hit it
Yeah.
right in the middle.
Dude, they were so close though, having him shoot it right through the O.
Yeah.
That would have been
But
perfect.
that would have been too like on the
It would have been
nose.
great though.
Yeah. And then this is a small thing. I it's like a half a second shot. It's them riding off into the sunset with the lens flare.
Oh, dude, you
What a fucking shot!
you screamed when that came up.
I literally wrote down the shot of them riding off into the sunset was beautiful. And as they're walking, as they're riding into, they're going to Colorado University.
Yeah.
Joel is explaining to her what football is.
Hmm.
When you listen to it like that, it is a confusing game.
It is.
But to us, it's so simple. But to
I like
her,
how she was like, "So you're just moving one direction." Joe goes, "Yeah, but violent." So that's why it's fun.
and then Ellie is like, "You used to build things, right?" And he's like, "Yes, they call us contractors." And she's like, "That's so cool, the contractor." And then she rests her head on the Joel's back, and when I'm telling you, it melted my heart. Like it was such like it was like I know people are gonna be like, oh, that you thought that was like they're like relation. No, like father daughter like melted my heart.
Yeah.
I don't want any weird Leonardo DiCaprio fans over here, but it was such like a sweet and like small thing, but it just shows from the first time that they started meeting when he wouldn't even talk to her to
Hmm.
this, and it's just been like what 3.5 months to them
Yeah.
together, and they've grown so much together. And I think she does look at Joel as like a father figure, maybe not as her dad, but like
Yeah.
as the person that's protecting her, and he's looking at her more than cargo at this point.
Hmm. Yeah. I also like how Joel changed his mind about the sheep farm. He's like, "You know what? When I was a kid, I wanted to be a singer." Ellie just starts laughing at him.
I do have to say the sets and the CGI were immaculate.
Oh, yeah, you don't notice it in this
No,
episode.
this was
There's
very
nothing
good.
that sticks out.
And even in 7, which we'll get to when we get there, it's very good. But there's one shot that I felt like to me was very distinct,
Uh-huh.
at least CGI. But we'll get to that when we get to that episode.
Yeah. Even the monkeys they run into in the lab look pretty good.
I wrote down as a note, monkey.
Monkeys.
I like how she goes, she's like, maybe they turn themselves into monkeys.
Yeah,
And Joel just looks at her like, you dumb motherfucker.
so stupid.
And as they're looking, they go there because that was the plan. That's where he's supposed to drop Ellie off. That was the
Mhm.
original marker.
Yeah.
And we see that no one's actually there, and they've abandoned this location. They've all moved down to Utah,
Yeah.
Salt Lake City, and
Yeah, the Mormons definitely survived this, right?
I don't know.
They can build some shit real fast.
You ever seen that Family Guy
100%.
skit of that? They blow down the bar and they build it right back up. And then they eventually, you see some raiders. There's only 4 of them. I didn't understand. I get like they're trying to be sneaky,
Mhm.
and I guess you don't want to shoot because if there's more somewhere else, they're
Yeah.
gonna come to that spot. I just probably would have shot them.
Yeah.
Fuck the whole trying to sneak around these bastards. But eventually, attempt to get back to their horse. A fight breaks out between a raider and Joel as he's trying to help Ellie on the horse. He snaps the dude's neck, but the guy had stabbed him with a baseball bat that had broken during the fight.
Yeah. That's a rough one too.
That was a rough one. He shouldn't have pulled the thing
Baseball
out.
bat?
They
No.
always tell you leave it in.
Yeah.
But in movies and TV, they find the need to be like, this is gonna look cool. But they start riding away. Ellie, it's a dope shot. Ellie's looking back and firing at the raiders.
Mhm.
Who literally they had no weapons or anything. They just had bats.
Yeah.
And the episode ends with them walking on a train track on the horse, and Joel falls off,
Mhm.
and he's not.
Passes out.
Yeah, he's not reacting. His eyes are closed. He looks like it might be the end for Joel. And then Ellie's trying to wake up. She starts crying. It is very sad.
Yeah, it's sad.
But yeah, I thought this was a great episode. I think it's probably number 3 for me. I think it's 5, 3, 6.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think that's where I'm going to sit with
That's
it.
pretty good.
It might be 5, 2, 6.
Yeah.
3
I
might
mean,
not
one's
be-
definitely up there still.
No, I
First
mean,
episode was
I
good.
think they could all. If I'm just going off of what I think the episode is off a score,
Mhm.
they could all be in my top 3. But
Oh, they're all
7
great.
is so misplaced.
Yeah.
That it hurts, I think, what people think about it.
I agree.
But yeah, that is the end of our review of episode 6. We both just said it. We think it was a great episode. I'm very excited to see 8. We're gonna have to try and figure out a way to watch it on our trip
Mhm.
because we're not gonna be home. Correct?
Yeah.
Are you good?
I'm
You
good.
You look like you're going into some deep thought about that.
Just think about how we're gonna watch it.
I mean, I have to bring my laptop down anyway for other stuff, just to make sure.
Just plug it into the
Because
TV.
plugging our new sponsor, we don't have yet an ad read with them yet, but we've finalized. I did all the paperwork today, and that is for BetterHelp.
Yes.
Use our code, the popcorn. No, it's just what is my code? Our code. It's fucking. It's. I think it's just popcorn pod. I think that's what it is. So if you want BetterHelp, go to BetterHelp and use our promo code popcorn pod.
You practiced this.
No, I did not because I wasn't gonna bring it up, but I was like, "There's a gap in the action. I can throw it in there."
Yeah.
I wish I had it at this point, but yeah, go to BetterHelp. It's a very nice site. Mental health is no joke unless unless it's Ryan talking about it.
Whoa.
But yeah, we love you guys over at BetterHelp. We're very excited to do a 4-episode stint with you guys. But yeah, you ready to hop into episode 7?
Yeah.
I don't remember what the title of this episode's called.
Left Behind. Yep.
Yeah, because 6 was Nin.
Kin.
Whoops.
The fuck does Nin mean?
I don't even know. Oh Jesus.
God.
But my first thoughts on 7, I think that it can be put in that conversation of like in the last couple of years, I thought it was one of the better episodes of television.
Uh-huh.
But in the series, it's so out of place with what was going on the last couple, and I felt like it kind of threw the pace off.
Yeah.
But that doesn't take away from how good of an episode it was. I just kind of wish they kind of did it as a DLC of a series, like in between one ends, in between when we get scene 2, they just drop this in the middle.
Yeah.
Just
A
be
nice
like,
little episode.
look, here's
Yeah.
like a little bonus thing for you guys
Yeah.
in between how long we have to wait for each season.
Yeah, it'll be good. I think I agree with you. It was just very, very weirdly placed. You can say like Yeah, but episode 3 was kind of the same thing. It was just a different story that was separate from Joel and Ellie. But I feel like episode 3 is different because there was a lull in the action. They had just gotten away. They were just kind of moving from one place to another. There wasn't anything really going on at that point, so you had time to sit back and just do a really good episode without adding action in it and just have a completely different story. This one taking place right after Joel gets stabbed and there's a huge thing they have to figure out. You can't just completely stop that and do something completely different. It completely cut the pace for me.
Yeah, and I I did like. I thought the beginning of the episode was great when it's a scene with Joel and Ellie. Ellie's trying to keep him warm because he's wet in the shock.
Yeah.
And Joel grabs her and pretty much keeps telling him, trying to shove her away, and he's like, "Go find Tommy. Like, go back north and find Tommy."
Yeah.
That's what he tells her.
That'll work.
Yeah, that's gonna work. Run back right past the Raiders who were chasing you. But I thought it was a really good scene, and then it fades to black. And a bonus point because it then opens back up to All or Nothing by Pearl Jam, the greatest band of all time. And I love them.
You do love Pearl Jam.
But we're back. I didn't see how long. It didn't say a time period, did it? Did it say how many years back it was?
No, but it's probably like maybe like a
year,
month or so before Marlene found her.
Oh yeah, because she's only.
Because I'd have to imagine Marlene found her by going in and being like, "Why hasn't Riley come out in a couple of days?"
Well,
that's probably it.
I don't know. Riley was supposed to go to Atlanta.
That is true. So maybe it was the next day. She's like, "Why didn't you report?" or some shit.
Maybe I don't know.
Whatever. I can't imagine it was anything longer than a week.
No, yeah, probably. I don't know. That's a little loophole in the plot.
Yeah, I could be wrong. I don't know.
But we see Ellie and she's running. She's in one of the QZ schools, and this girl Bethany takes her Walkman away, and it cuts off the Pearl Jam, and Bethany gets punched in the face, and that bitch got what she deserved. No regrets there.
You can't cut off Pearl Jam.
No, I can't cut off Pearl Jam. But we then, well, we don't see her get punched. We see Ellie throw it, and it stops.
Yeah.
It cuts to black. And then we open back up in an office, and Ellie's sitting there with a black eye, and Captain Wong comes in. Kwong. It's Kwong. So I don't know how to specifically
Captain
announce it.
Kwong?
I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing it. Kwong, whatever. But I thought this dude was awesome. I wish he was like my. I wish he was like my guidance counselor. I was like listening to him talking, like this dude's bringing up some valid points.
Yeah.
But
he was right.
He was right.
I love that Ellie was like, just throw me in the hole again. He's like, I've thrown you in the hole 3 times.
It doesn't fucking work.
Something needs to change.
But yeah, we just get a conversation. He's pretty much explaining her if she stays down the road she's going, she's just gonna do some shit job, be cold,
and probably work for Bethany.
Yeah, and work for Bethany. Or she can get her act together and she can tell Bethany where to shove it.
Yeah.
Which seems like a much better option.
Yeah. Because he's honest. He's like, Ellie, you're smarter than most of the people in here. You're just not doing what you're supposed to do, which is completely correct.
Yeah. But moving on from that, we go into Ellie's room. She's reading a comic book. She eventually falls asleep, and someone comes into her room to wake her up and kind of like scares her. And Ellie pulls a knife, and it ends up being, what the hell's her name? Riley. I was just thinking Stormy Reed. That's the actress's name.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this episode, like another thing about it, I thought it really showed off Bella Ramsey and Stormy Reed's ability to act.
Yeah.
Because again, like, this episode's not action-packed. There's literally one action sequence, which is literally 45 seconds.
Yeah, it's the very end.
And yeah, it's the very end. All they had to rely on was their acting.
Mm-hmm.
And I loved it. And I thought Bella Ramsey, to me, this was her best episode so far.
Yeah, no, I think they both did a really, really good job. And I like the introduction they had between each other. Because you can tell immediately, like, you can see that Ellie is like, where the hell have you been? They've known each other before. They're probably pretty close friends. But Riley left for some reason, somehow. So it's a good first scene because you kind of get an understanding of the relationship between these two immediately.
Yeah, I thought they had great chemistry together. And then we get like a little bit of just scenes here and there about it's just them walking, getting to a specific point. Because Riley had joined the Fireflies, and she tells Ellie she has this amazing night planned.
Yeah.
and Ellie is not happy that she's doing the Fireflies.
No. Would you join the Fireflies?
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck the QZ.
You
I would have been blowing shit up
would have
too.
been like Joel, just doing your own thing. You had to join the terrorist group.
No, Joel was in the Joel became part of the QZ. He was doing the body work. That's how he was getting paid. Remember? In the
Yeah, but he
beginning?
wasn't a Firefly.
No, he was just a QZ person.
Yeah.
He was a Firefly.
Yeah, but I meant like Joel. Yeah, he worked in the QZ to make money, but he kind of does his own thing afterwards.
Yeah, he sells drugs.
He sells a lot of drugs.
He's a drug dealer.
Among other things.
He's like a cockroach. Drug dealers are cockroaches. No matter what happens, they'll always be there.
Sure.
They're like the best friend you can have. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But again, as I said when we were just talking about last episode, the sets are incredible.
Yeah.
Watching them talk about how they just redid the mall is.
Oh yeah.
And they made sure it looked just like how it did in 2003.
Mm-hmm.
Which that sounds pretty easy, but to find pictures of a smaller mall in 2003 can't be the easiest thing to find.
No.
Even with Google and all of that.
Yeah.
But that also leads to one of my icks with the episode. The scene in which Riley tells Ellie to go in there and wait and then tell me when you're there. She turns on all the lights, and to me, it seemed it seemed like they outlined where Ellie was, and the CGI just didn't look great to me. And that was like one of the few times.
You think?
I don't know. Both times I've watched it now.
I thought it looked all right. I mean, I don't think there's that much.
I mean, it's terrible, but I think it was, to me, it was at least noticeable.
I think the further down it gets, there's more CGI probably. I think the closer stores might be there. But I mean, I didn't think it was terrible. I didn't think it was that bad.
I didn't think it was terrible, but that's not what I'm saying. I gotta reword this then. I don't think it was terrible in any way. I thought it was noticeable. When I feel like the last couple episodes, it has not been noticeable.
Yeah, I see what you mean. I think it's more like probably the ivy or some of the stuff that's kind of overgrown is probably CGI.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of the mall is practical. I thought it looked pretty good. Like the lighting for the most part is probably practical.
Yeah.
Which I think it looks good.
And I did mean to add this. Hard liquor and guns always mix. As they were just chugging. Well, they were. They had a loaded gun and a bottle of whiskey.
That is true.
And they always mix. Just ask
it's
a
better
bunch
than
of
the dude
rockers.
with the bottle of whiskey and oxys or whatever he had.
That hit close to home.
Passed out.
That hit close to home with my oxy medication I had to take.
Yep.
But no, I really adored their chemistry together. I thought they fit really well together. I thought Stormy Reed was a very good choice for the actress.
Yeah.
For the character. And another bonus point to this episode, it had Take On Me, which is one of my top 20 favorite songs of all time.
Yeah.
So another bonus point for them. But I thought Bella Ramsey's ability in this episode to just show how like fish out of water excited she was to like try all these new things, it worked for me on every level. And I know people are having a little bit of an issue with the like Ellie having a crush on Riley and stuff like that. Like I know
it's in the games though, isn't it?
Yeah. And I thought the young love stuff was done perfect. Like the way she would look at her and stuff. I thought it worked perfect.
I thought it was done really well because she was just giving glances the whole time and Riley was not reciprocating. And you can see her like she obviously likes Riley, but Riley isn't doing anything back. So you can see her get like sad throughout the episode.
Because then she gets ready to leave.
Yeah, which is totally like that's how it is. It's exactly how it feels. You're looking at somebody, you're like, fuck, they don't like me. What am I doing? I'm an idiot.
Ryan, you need to go to BetterHelp.
Probably.
Yeah. You're like therapy. Great thing, but
sure would help. Yeah. Sure would help. I'm just lazy.
Well, that's why. It's all virtual.
Yeah.
It'd really be great.
Very what's the word?
Be careful with the next word you say.
No,
we're not trying to lose a sponsorship that hasn't even officially started yet.
What's the word I'm trying to look for? It's very like not timely. Starts with a C.
You got it.
I can't think of it. Help me out.
Nope.
Yeah, you got it.
Nope. No, you know how many times you've done this to me on this show?
I've done it way too many times, but you can help me.
No. Come on. What is it, Ryan?
Convenient. Yes, that's the one.
It's not convenient to you, but to everyone else, it is convenient.
It would be convenient. I'm just lazy.
Because you get a 3-month subscription to BetterHelp.
Yes.
You do.
I do.
I do.
Not the peasants that listen to this.
But going back into The Last of Us, we continue to not be able to stay on track on this show. I fucking hate picture booths.
Oh, they're the worst.
They're the worst.
I hate 'em.
They showed it so well in this episode too. You don't know what you're posing. You gotta literally take like a 10-minute plan. Like you have to
Mhm.
write down your plan and then tell your friends the plan
Yeah.
and then do it on time.
I refuse to do them.
But I do have to say I have some amazing memories as a child going to my hometown mall and going in there with my parents because there. If you ever go into my kitchen, this is more to you, not any of you who will never go into my kitchen, hopefully. But there's
I've
a
been in your
lot of them. Yeah, you've been in my kitchen. On the door to go downstairs, if you look, there's like a bunch of them from when I was little. So
Yeah.
I have a sweet spot for them, but at the same time, they fucking are terrible.
They suck.
Fuck those things. But back into the episode. After that, Riley tells Ellie that she has like a surprise for her, and Ellie starts guessing what it is. She's like, "Is it a dinosaur?" and all this stuff. And it's the joke book that we saw in episode 5.
How happy were you when that came back?
So excited. I fucking love the joke book.
I like the screenshot one. I thought that was kind of funny.
There was a screenshot. Oh, and they didn't understand
Yeah.
what it meant. That was good. I like the cannibal one. That one made me laugh.
Oh, which one was that?
What did the annoyed cannibal do?
What?
He threw up his hands.
That was a good
That's
one.
a good one. That's like a funny one. I enjoyed that one. But Ellie eventually finds pipe bombs, which not
Kind of ruins the mood a little
Yeah,
bit.
it kind of ruins the mood. Ellie begins to leave. She goes through the door. I gotta stop drinking sparkly drinks.
You took another one?
I had one before I came.
Why?
I don't know.
Been doing this for 3 weeks
It
now.
was with my dinner. But Ellie eventually hears screaming. She comes running back, makes sure nothing happened to Riley, and it's an animatronic in the
Yeah.
Halloween area. And then the most terrifying part of the episode, Riley puts on a clown mask. No.
You were so uncomfortable with
So
that.
uncomfortable.
That whole scene.
Fucking hate clowns. Why do you think I told We Love Movie Podcast that we're not reviewing anything clown related? Why do you think I picked Insidious? Simple. And now just so everyone knows, we are going to be reviewing the new Evil Dead. If anyone's interested in that,
I'm
Ryan's
not
so
but
excited to
can be.
watch it. But we see them start to have fun again. They fix the mood, and it's all because Riley explains to Ellie that she planned all this because Riley has to go to Atlanta.
Yeah.
She can't stay, and she has to leave the next day. And Ellie kisses Riley, and it felt like a young kid scene where it's like she kissed him, and then she kissed her, and then she apologized for it.
Yeah.
Let's clarify: if a guy does that, there's no apologizing. Your ass fucked. If that girl is not into it, you're fucked, dude. Speaking of men that are fucked up right now,
Yeah.
did you see John Morant?
Oh yeah, beat up a 17-year-old with a
Point
gun.
a gun at him and his family.
He's so fucked.
He's so fucked.
What? Who does he play for? The Grizzlies.
There you go.
Yeah.
I wanted to see. If
I'm
you
not a huge basketball guy.
No, I know. I just wanted to see if you could figure it out yourself.
Yeah.
But after they kiss, they hear like stuff getting banged around, and Riley pulls out the gun, and a runner comes in, and that runner is moving, and he is not happy that Riley shoots him.
Oh yeah, he's cooking.
He is not a happy camper.
Booster.
And they eventually kill the runner, but they are both bitten in the attack.
Yep.
And they sit down and they start talking about like life and how this is gonna go. And Riley, off screen, dies.
I wish it wasn't off screen.
No, I could not.
I want to know what.
heartbreak.
I want to know what happens. Like,
You're gonna see in the second season, I think.
you think?
I think they'll show it.
I mean,
Stormy Reed's not an actress that you're bringing on for one episode.
yeah, I
She's
guess
big
so.
enough that they're doing this for
Yeah, you're right.
multiple episodes.
Yeah, after this year for sure.
Season,
but
not year.
no, I mean like after this year for her. She had a good year.
Oh yeah, she did. She had Missing.
Yeah.
Did you know it has really good reviews too?
I heard it was really good.
Yeah. I didn't see Searching or Missing.
Hmm.
What's the next one? Found.
Shipped off to China somewhere there.
That's a good one. But
Yeah, no, I want to see Ellie just like have to beat her with a baseball bat or something.
oh
I
god,
think it would have been.
I don't want that.
like she turns. Ellie doesn't. It has to happen. There's something.
Or
that
Ellie
goes
just
down.
leaves.
No, come on. That's so anticlimactic.
Why do you want? This is
That's
just like
really
Under the
sick.
Banner of Heaven, wanting to see the baby and mom get killed. This is under the same.
It's the whole point. You gotta see it. Come on.
You got so
This is what
excited
we're here
when it
for.
was the finale. You're like, it's happening, it's and then it happened. You're like, I wish I didn't see that.
I mean, you got a whole episode. Riley's not making it out, and Ellie does. Something happens.
And then eventually it cuts back to present day, and she helps Joel. She sews his wound shut.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Oh, painful.
It did look painful because it's yarn.
Yeah.
It's really
And a cold needle.
Oh. And that's the end of the episode, right?
Yeah, that's it.
And we know next episode, Troy Baker is going to be back. Barker, who, for those who don't know, he voices Joel in the show, in the video game.
Yeah.
And he's not playing a nice guy.
Yeah.
Did you see the trailer that they posted yesterday?
No, that's new.
Well, they do the one that we watch after the end of the episode, and then they put like a full trailer.
Okay, I didn't watch.
It's "Take on Me" is the song, and for those who don't know, "Take on Me" was in this episode. It's also been 4 other episodes, very subliminally.
Really?
It's almost in every episode because "Take on Me" is a song that Ellie sings in the second game.
Gotcha.
And I now have that on a playlist because it's a very good version of the song.
Yeah.
Nice. But yeah, I thought me and Ryan, I thought we're gonna have much different opinions on this episode. But I think
I think
we agree for the most part.
I think we agree. Like, it's a good episode. It's just very misplaced.
Yeah, it just feels out of place.
Kind of don't need it.
I am very excited for this week's episode because it's this episode. What do you call the one before the finale?
Penultimate.
Yeah, the penultimate, which is normally in a lot of bigger shows is normally the bigger episode.
Well, Game of Thrones it was. I don't know if they'll do that in this.
It's been like that in a couple of shows though.
You think?
Yeah, I feel like that's kind of become like a thing.
Yeah.
I feel like Game of Thrones
That was the big thing in Game of Thrones. They have like the battle be episode 9, and then episode 10 is all the fallout and set up for next season.
Season 6, the penultimate and finale are 2 of the greatest episodes of television. Holy fuck.
Yeah.
But no, I thought this episode was stellar. I just wish they maybe put it in between seasons or have the next season premiere with this. Yeah. I just felt like it was a little oddly placed.
Yeah. And you just really don't, I mean, you kind of just don't need it. Like, it's nice to have a backstory for Ellie, but again, like, you don't need a backstory for Ellie. We know she got bit. We don't need to see it, and that's it.
And the second season, you're gonna have plenty of time.
Yeah.
To explain Ellie's backstory.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that sums up our review for the 7th episode. Anything you want to add?
Yeah. No, it was a good episode. Just weird.
Yeah.
Weird for the season.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just weirdly placed more. But moving on from The Last of Us, we're now moving into Creed 3, which Ryan and I were lucky enough to be invited to the IMAX Live event for.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, IMAX Live is when you pretty much experience the red carpet from a theater in your own home state, if you can't be in LA. And we actually got a message that other people's theaters, it didn't work.
Really?
It was very upsetting to hear. Sorry to everyone who experienced that.
I mean, it was like that for a half hour for us.
Yeah, it was the whole red carpet event. We couldn't get sound.
Yeah.
And even the movie started, but then thank God the theater was nice enough to rewind it. And then we got the sound back on. But initial thoughts, Ryan?
I thought it was really good. I think out of the trilogy now, I think it is my least favorite one, but that's still not a bad thing because the first 2 are very, very good. I think just straight off the bat, the elephant in the room, Stallone not being in the movie, definitely he is missed in the movie. You do miss seeing Rocky. I think him being in the movie, being the trainer for this would have helped it a little bit. But the story didn't hinder the story at all. I think you just missed that part of Stallone being there and being with, Adonis Creed. Because Michael B. Jordan and Sylvester Stallone had fantastic chemistry in those 2 movies. Like, they felt like uncle and nephew. You know what I mean? Because he calls him Unc the whole time, and it's what they feel like. It feels like they have a really genuine relationship. And it just sucks him not being in the movie. But I don't think it hurt the movie as much as it was just something that was missing and just kind of unfortunately not there.
No, I completely agree. And a quick updating on the reviews for this film so far. It is officially certified fresh on Rotten Tomatoes at a 91, Metacritic, it's sitting at 72, and IMDb has it at 7.4 out of 10, while Google has it at 96. I think the Google score will drop since the film hasn't actually come out yet.
Yeah.
This is just small amounts of people who have gotten to seen it.
I think Rotten Tomatoes will drop a little bit too. I don't think it's bad, but I don't think it's a 91.
No, neither do I. And as soon as we left the theater, I told Ryan it didn't hit my expectations. But me being me, I think I went in with too high of expectations.
Yeah.
Because in my head, I wanted to see Rocky 1, Rocky 2, which are two, in my opinion, some of the greatest movies of all time and two of the top 5 greatest sports movies of all time. But, however, I digress. Creed 3 was still a very, very good movie.
Yeah.
And to me is better than 1, but not as good as 2.
See, 1's my favorite.
2's
I
my
think
favorite.
it just
I
goes.
think it's Drago. But you also see, this is where I think this comes into play. Though, I think
Play-Doh?
Shut the fuck up. One of Sean's kids ate Play-Doh yesterday.
Really?
He was telling me on Warzone.
It's really salty.
It is. Isn't
I remember when I was a kid.
Huh.
I never swallowed it, but I would,
Are you like Charlie? Are you like
I was
eating glue?
I was eating crayons all the time.
No, you weren't.
I swear to God.
What are you, a fucking Marine?
Yes.
But going back to my statement I was trying to make, I think this is where you not seeing all the Rockies comes into factor in our opinions on this.
Yeah,
I'm not saying this is going to make the movie better by 1's going to be people's favorite. That's just a thing.
I think 1 is just so good.
I think 1's great. I think I love 2 so much because I love Rocky 4 so much.
Yeah, that's fair.
But Ryan is going to watch Rocky 2 and 3 on Friday.
I am.
And Ryan's going to make a post on Instagram about it.
When did I say that?
Well, really, I'm going to post and just quote you on it and then just make it sound like it was you.
Quote me. Shit sucks.
We do not need that kind of flaming.
Who's 2? Is it Apollo again?
It's Apollo.
Apollo again? And then 3 is Mr. T, right?
Yep. Very good. I love for everyone. We are going to do a Rocky episode. I think it's kind of like part of cinema, history. We have to eventually do one. But we are going to talk about Rocky, and I think, as Ryan said, Stallone is clearly missed. And I didn't need him to be his trainer in this movie, but I feel like he could have been used.
You need that extra motivation.
Because
not needed, but it's nice when it's there.
I'm assuming the embargo lifted. the reviews are out, so that means the embargo is lifted.
If it comes out, this is coming out on Friday too, so that's when it drops. So
it could come out tomorrow.
Do you want to get sued by
whoever produced? If the reviews are out, that means the embargo lifted.
Yeah,
because then people can review it. So I don't even know why I question.
I don't know. Yeah, do we want to do spoilers now? I'm fine with doing spoilers.
Yeah, we can do, because I feel like there's not a lot. This is gonna be a pretty short review because there's not a lot to talk about. It's a Rocky franchise movie. It's pretty textbook to what happens.
Yeah,
but this one does take swings to change it up from the rest of the franchise, which Michael B. Jordan explained on the Graham Norton show. He talked about how this is the 9th movie in one of the biggest franchises of all time, one of the most iconic movie franchises of all time. So he wanted to make it different, which I agreed with. I felt like Creed 1, 2 are phenomenal. This can be put in that category of greatest trilogies for me, which I think it's not going to be a trilogy because they've greenlit 4.
Yeah.
But at the moment, to me, it is one of the top trilogies ever, which is so hard to do. But he explains that you cannot keep doing the same thing. It has worked, but over 40 years, you need to make different changes. And they did with Creed. It was a whole different feeling to it.
Absolutely.
And this felt completely different.
Yeah.
Which worked and didn't work.
Yeah. I think one thing that really worked is that the first 2.
And I take back what I said. This is not better than 1. As I'm playing 1 through in my head.
Yeah, no,
1's a great movie. I still think 2's better. I think I enjoyed 2. 1's the best movie. 2's my favorite. This had my favorite villain. Quote unquote villain.
Yeah. Just, adversary.
Yeah, it's adversary. I thought I'm sorry. Go.
Because I think Jonathan Majors, first of all, is the best actor in this movie. He was phenomenal. And also huge. The dude got in crazy shape for this movie. It is wild. But I think one thing that sets this movie apart from the first 2 is that the first one isn't a Rocky villain, but you get that in the second one where it's okay, it's a Rocky villain who comes back. It's his son, but it's still, he's there because of Rocky. This one sets it apart because it's just Adonis Creed's story. It starts off and it's his childhood friend who went to prison. It's in the trailers, isn't a spoiler. But I think that set it apart from it being purely an Adonis Creed story. And I think the first one too, it's not a Rocky villain, it's just another boxer. But you kind of it feels more like a Rocky story too because it's in Philly. And I loved it in Philly. I kind of wish they went back to Philly. I'm not a huge fan
Second
of the
one's
LA
not in
stuff.
Philly.
I know, but I still like Philly more. Philly, it just got that
There's
feel.
only, I think, 2 of the Rocky movies are in Philly.
I don't give a shit. Is
You
it
just
one?
like Philly because you're from Philly.
It's true, but it also looks great. Just got that
Well, you're
grit.
getting a Philly movie in 16 days, so
Which one?
Shazam.
Oh yeah. I'm not excited to see Citizens Bank get destroyed
I
though.
know, what the fuck?
It's sad.
That's what's gonna happen if the Phillies don't have a winning season this year. I will burn the place to the ground.
Movie curse. Is that a thing?
What?
I think there's a thing like a movie curse. Like stadium gets destroyed in a movie, they lose.
I don't know.
Has that ever
Don't
happened
even
before?
put that out into the world.
Has that happened before?
Just
Now I'm
keep
scared.
it in.
We got Trey Turner, man. We got this.
We don't have Bryce Harper.
He'll be back.
But I agree. I think Jonathan Majors as Damien was a great decision on Michael B. Jordan's part to be like, how can I separate myself from the Rocky franchise?
Yeah.
And this is make it completely his story. And when it was going about his story and Damien's story, that's when I felt like this movie was at its best.
Yeah.
And nothing against the fight sequences. The first two, anytime before the final fight, those scenes are great.
Yeah.
The final battle, quote unquote, the final match, Michael B. Jordan had talked about how he took a lot of inspiration from anime.
Yeah.
And it's you can tell from each fight.
Yeah.
Which I like the idea of like slowing it down because Wayne Gretzky, when he explained hockey, he said everything was in slow motion for him.
Yeah.
When someone's so good at sports, slowed down to them, which made sense. But then he took a major swing at the end.
He did.
Like, he went all in.
And it's not a complete miss. It's still a good fight.
No, it's a good fight. It's just I don't think it's long enough.
Yeah.
And some of the directing choices I don't think worked for me.
I agree.
But I will give Michael B. Jordan all the credit in the world because I think was the perfect choice to play Adonis. I think he really, you can tell like while you're watching it, like that is Apollo's son.
Yeah.
Like he fits the character so well.
You can tell he loves movies. You can tell. I mean, directing this, his first time directing, he did a really, really great job. But you can also tell he loves boxing too. Like he learned how to box for the first one. I'm assuming he learned it for the first one. I don't know if he knew before.
He said he's always been a major fan, and like he's done like boxing, but for Creed, he like really became like a lover of the sport.
Yeah, and you can tell like there's a lot of love for fighting in this movie, and I mean all three of them. So I think that helps it out. But the final fight, it does, like you were saying, it is too short in my opinion. I think we agree on that, and it does kind of get when you watch it, you'll see like it's very personal between the two, which makes sense. The whole story between them, it should be personal, but I didn't love the direction they went with it. With the whole like the crowd goes away and it's just them. I like that, but then there's stuff in that which I don't know. I just didn't love.
It becomes like a prison cell, and then it becomes like the house that they both lived in where they were physically abused.
Yeah, it's just a little over the top.
Yeah,
like what they're going for is good, but how they did it was just too much.
Yeah, over the top. Because I feel like if you maybe did like a 30-second sequence where it's just them fighting each other, and then he gets popped once and he's back in it, like that's like this is like a real fight.
Yeah,
and there's people watching. That's what I wish they did.
Yeah,
I feel like that would have worked a little bit better. And the scenes where I think, because I didn't want Stallone to be a major part in this movie. I liked that they kept. This is his story now.
Yeah.
Like what Rocky tells Adonis at the end of the second one. However, this is a spoiler, everyone, so if you don't want to listen, go away. But when Adonis Creed's mom passes away, sadly, from another stroke, I feel like Stallone loved her, like loved her to death. That was like family to him. He should have been at that funeral.
I agree.
And then instead of Tessa Thompson talking to him after the funeral, I feel like that should have been Rocky talking to him.
Yeah.
And that's it. You don't have to do he doesn't have to be a trainer. I just feel like he should have been the one talking to
He
him.
should have been the motivation.
Yes,
Which, like, it doesn't have to be him motivating him the entire movie, but Stallone and Rocky, like I said before, it's uncle nephew. It is family. They are family. So I think he needed to be in this movie just to give that little bit more inspiration for him to fight. That's just it. Like I don't think he needed to be in this movie the entire time. I think he just needed to have a few good lines and really get him to fight and get him to understand like I need to do this. This is what needs to happen for family.
I was a little disappointed. They had a chance to quote Rocky Balboa. He's like, "It's not how hard you can get hit," and I was like, and he's like, "It's how you can keep fighting."
Yeah.
I was like, "That's not the line."
We're this
I
close.
was like, "We're this close to perfection." But I will say, I love Jonathan Majors. I thought he was perfect for this role as
Yeah.
Damien. And they took, you can tell if you're a boxing fan, you're going to know who I'm talking about. Everyone knows Mike Tyson. They clearly used Mike Tyson as an example of who he is.
Yeah.
But they also used Bernard Hopkins, my father's favorite boxer and an iconic brawler. And it was it was evident, right?
Yeah.
The word evident?
Sure.
Sure, that's what we're gonna use.
That
It was
works.
very evident with how he fought, the way he acted, that they were took inspiration, and it worked. It worked so well, and I don't necessarily think he was the best part of the movie. He was amazing. I think Michael B. Jordan and Tessa Thompson also gave their best performances because it felt like these two had to do a lot more especially Tessa Thompson had to do a lot more acting than she had done in the first two. Like she's always been a
Hmm.
love interest, but this one she became like full blown major character.
Yeah.
Like she's always been important. I'm trying to figure out how to word this. It became a whole different level. Like she had to take like Stallone's position.
Yeah. I think it's because they have a daughter now. They like
Who was adorable, and
oh
I
yeah, she
thought
was
she was
great.
great.
Yeah, she did a really, really good job. I loved her fighting the whole time too.
Yeah,
Like she was learning how to box a
knocked the
little bit.
fucking kid out in her class. But she got what
Yeah.
she deserved too.
Yeah. But I think I get what you're saying with Tessa Thompson. It's like them having a daughter now adds another layer to that family thing, which the whole point of this movie is family and relationships. So I think them having a daughter gave another thing for Creed to not want to box, having a daughter now, like he's retired and he needs to stay retired so that her father won't have CTE and shit,
Oh,
which
he
would
already
suck.
has it.
Oh yeah,
They
100%.
showed when they were explaining all the injuries he has,
Yeah,
and they were showing how it
yeah,
caused them. That dude has CTA.
yeah. Which made me think of the first one when the mom is explaining to him like, I don't want you to fight because I remember wiping your father's ass when he was a grown man, and I
When
do not want
she would
that to
carry
happen.
when she explains it, carrying him up the steps and everything
Yeah,
like that.
which I mean, it's sad but true. But
More
I think
boxing movies need to talk about that.
yeah,
It's not a scene that you see very like.
yeah.
You see him post fighting this.
Mhm.
He doesn't seem that beat up though.
Yeah. And I
He,
think that's another fault with the final fight because just to jump back to that for a second, it goes from round 1 and then it does all the like in the head shit and then it goes straight to round 12.
yeah.
And they're kind of like there's a few cuts and bruises, but they're not as beat up as they probably should have been seeing how these two boxers had fought before.
No, and that's the thing that has kind of plagued some of the later Rockies. Balboa, they fix it because he's beat up.
Mhm.
But in 4, he fights Drago, this beast of a human being, and you'll see when you watch it. He's not very beat up, even
Yeah.
though when you see the punches he takes in that, and a lot of them were real punches. And this, I know,
Went to the hospital.
yeah, he went to the hospital
Hit
because
the
he got his
heart.
chest punched. And I know that Michael B. Jordan has said that they hit each other a lot more in this one than they ever have in a Rocky or Creed movie.
Uh-huh.
It was, and you can see it because they had to get such close shots with the IMAX camera,
Yeah.
and you can see it fully connect.
Yeah.
I just think the last fight was a little. It was still a very good scene, but it felt a little mellow.
Yeah.
It like you should be like cheering in a Rocky
Mhm.
movie. Like when I saw Creed 1 theaters, I cheered.
Yeah.
Like I cheered.
Yeah, that's a good take. I like that. Like it was a little like it should be personal. It should be very personal. But you should show that through the fighting instead of like instead of it being all in their head.
Yeah, like it
Which
should be
it
them
should be a
like
little bit of
throwing
that.
each other around the ring and like some
Yeah.
like that makes a personal box like a boxing match. You've seen it in real life when people do not like each other. The fight's explosive. They're getting thrown to the ground. Like when they clinch, one of them punches the other one in the back of the head. Like it's aggressive.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be like I get the all in your head stuff. It was very in your face what they were trying to go for. And it worked, but then it just kept going on, kept going on, kept going on. And that was the majority of the fight when I feel like it would have been better. I feel like the first round was the best part of the fight.
Yeah.
And the last round, because that was really cool.
Dude, Jonathan Major's boxing style. Like you were explaining to me how it's just completely
it's called crab.
Tyson.
It's called crab blocking.
Yeah, crab blocking. Like that was I don't box. Like you legitimately box. I don't.
Not anymore.
Yeah, but
I'm a broken
you have
person.
experience. I did none. But when you were explaining to me like what crab blocking is, how it's just you can block but you can't punch back. It made a lot of sense for that character. How he's just
he doesn't need to counter punch because he knows how strong he is. And another term for it, I think it's called hide and seek something. Tyson made it a thing. It was like never seen, and it's either your arms are across or your arms are vertical, but your head's like crazy movement, and he does that a lot too because you'll see him like Jonathan Majors will start like bouncing around.
Yeah,
and another thing, this is maybe more just from being like such a big boxing fan. When Jonathan Majors wins the title and beats what's his name? Who's the guy he fought?
I forget his name.
Well, Michael B. Jordan's training this guy. This guy's now become the champion of the world.
Yeah.
He's this Hispanic boxer. And he's supposed to fight Victor Drago. But then Drago has his hand crushed during a fight in like a public fight, and he can't fight anymore. So that's who Damian ends up fighting. And Damian's fighting a little dirty. He is. He throws like an elbow. He's pushing his head and stuff like that, which you're not allowed to do. But the way that they act towards Damian when he wins is that he did some horrendous stuff. He was boxing.
Yeah.
He hit him with one elbow, which, that's a big deal. Like, that's a no-no. He got 2 points taken away, which is exactly what's supposed to. But they just fought.
It was a big deal. Like, 2 points is a lot.
If you get deducted 1 point, it's a big deal. 2 is even crazier. And I just felt like they tried to amp up how, like, he's, like, this horrible person. And I didn't feel that way watching it. I was rooting for him. I wanted him to win.
Yeah, up until after he wins, and like you get the scene on the beach where he talks.
But I blame Michael B. Jordan for him reacting like that because Michael B. Jordan didn't celebrate with him.
That is true.
He's like, "Yo, bro, like I won it," and he just kind of like looks at him like he did something wrong.
Yeah, he like shakes his head.
When all he did was box. He just beat the guy, and he just happens to be super strong. Like he's a great puncher. Mm-hmm. That's what it comes down to.
Like it was dirty boxing, but not so dirty to the point where you can disrespect him.
It wasn't Drago versus Apollo, man.
Yes, exactly. He wasn't trying to kill him. He was just trying to beat him. And yeah, it was dirty, but it wasn't dirty enough to ruin it. But I think the scene on the beach where he does hit Apollo, or Adonis, excuse me.
Motherfucker got what they deserved.
I don't know.
I mean, I rock with Damian all day, baby.
I was the same way. I was rooting for him to win that title fight because all the way up before that, you do feel bad for him. Except when he's sparring and he's like beating all of his sparring partners to death.
Well, that's after.
Is that after? Mm-hmm. I feel like before he was.
That's when he's getting ready to fight Adonis.
But before when he's sparring the Hispanic dude, he's also like, and even the mom is like, "What are you trying to do? Are you trying to hurt him?"
Because the Hispanic guy sucker punched him.
Yeah,
that guy was fighting dirty too. So he just retaliated. Which, if you're someone's sparring partner and the other person's like getting ready for a fight, you're literally just a heavy bag that's moving. Yeah. You're not supposed to hit them that hard. So yes, he did something he wasn't supposed to do. But I fell for him. He had got put in prison for something that he was just protecting someone.
Yeah.
And Adonis kind of caused all of it.
Yeah.
He did cause all of it because he attacked the guy. And
rightfully so.
What?
Rightfully so.
Yeah, the guy abused Adonis and Damian. His name was Leon. Yeah. And very sad, very hard scene to watch. Those punches were loud in IMAX.
Yeah.
And I was rooting for him. I wanted Damian to win.
Yeah.
But then
I think they could have leaned more into the bad guy thing. Like I thought
we thought he was going to kill the guy.
Yes, I thought he was going to kill the guy. But I thought even separate from that, I thought the scene in the party, Tessa Thompson's or Bianca's like record party, whatever it was. I thought there when Damian was talking to her alone and Adonis was like off taking pictures.
I think he was going to try and like hit on her.
I thought he was going to hit on her. It was going to be a little more personal. That's I think you could have leaned more into the bad guy thing, and you get that later, like when he's on Stephen A. Smith and Damien calls in. He calls him out for the fight. I don't know. I think I agree that I was rooting for him up until him and Adonis's fight. I think you could have leaned more into the bad guy stuff, like make him a worse person, not just a sort of dirty boxer. But yeah, I think he's just a really strong guy, and he hit the dude hard as shit, knocked his ass out. Like he did fight dirty. He did throw an elbow. He was punching the arms, which isn't illegal, but
Yeah,
it is still dirty.
but it's not dirty.
It's sliding into the second baseman. It's
Yeah,
legal, but
well, not
you're kind of a
anymore.
dick. Yeah, not anymore. But
Like it's kind of like, dude, you really gonna do that? But at the same time, he's just punching. And that's the name of the game. That's how you win. You
yeah,
get more points, even though he's not getting points. He is fighting to hurt the guy and to put himself as an advantage.
yeah. Which I think is what they were trying to say was dirty about it. Like
But
he
they
was
made it.
fighting to hurt him.
But they made it so like they were like, "Oh my god, can you believe?" The announcers didn't, which I was actually happy that the announcers weren't making it seem that way. But the way Adonis and Duke reacted
Yeah,
is what was like, okay, I get what you want. You want us to all be like, "Oh, he's the villain. He's bad now."
yeah,
When I feel like you could have had him, you don't have to make it look like that way, and then he kind of lets the fame get to him, and that's what makes him bad.
yeah. I think that should have been more like it.
That's how I think it should have been taken.
Yeah,
Like Michael B. Jordan celebrates with him, like he's happy for him, but then he starts doing like all this fuck shit. Like he's knocking out every sparring partner he has.
yeah.
He's carrying a gun like in his waistband just around, like all this stuff.
Hmm.
Not saying you can't carry a gun, but like,
Well, he can't. He's a
oh
felon.
yeah, he's a felon. He can't carry a gun. And I really enjoyed his performance because you could tell that Jonathan Majors Damien was like a struggling man. Like he was trying to find his way back,
Yeah,
and then he just let the fame get to him.
yeah.
And it has a nice little resolution at the end.
Hmm.
Like Damien, it's
Yeah, in
not
the locker
said,
room.
but he understands what he did.
Yeah, yeah. I thought when Damien first comes back, like the scene where they have lunch, it was a really good scene because you feel really bad for Damien. Like you can tell he
Sorry,
isn't
when I dropped my phone.
he isn't he isn't like inherently a bad dude, and he was in prison for so long for something that yeah he did, but he was also protecting Adonis, and Adonis got away, and Adonis ended up really living his life because Damien was the better boxer. Adonis was in his corner the whole time, placing bets for him and shit. Which that was funny too when they were kids. And
That was
Duke looks
cool.
over and he's like, "The hell are you doing?"
That was a cool fight.
That was a great fight. Yeah,
What does he say? What's like his thing when he says when he knows he's gonna win? He had like that turn
checkmate,
checkmate
something like that.
because then Adonis uses it.
Yeah, when he's fighting Ricky in the beginning,
That was a good
that was
fight
a cool
too.
fight. I didn't love the whole like zoom in on the eyes thing, slow mo, but I got it.
Yeah, like that's why I said I did enjoy it, but that's just because you hear a lot of athletes talk about when they're incredible at a sport,
Yeah,
it's
everything
slow
slows
motion
down.
to them.
Yeah, it
So
made
it made
sense.
sense to me. Maybe you don't need to do the close on the eyes.
Yeah,
That was something that felt like an anime was brought to life.
that's what
I
was
like
goofy.
the slow motion of him noticing like his sides
Yes,
open, like you have an ability to get to him.
exactly. I like that. I didn't love the zoom in on the eyes.
Yeah.
That was a little goofy, but
And
yeah.
then we forgot to mention it comes out that Damien planned to have Drago hit so he could take the fight.
Yeah, it was one of his buddies from prison, I guess. Maybe
Yeah.
got out at the
It
same
was cool
time.
to see
and-
Drago back. I was excited to see him. He did a
Yeah,
lot more acting in this one than he did in Creed 2.
yeah, he was really good.
He only talks twice in Creed 2.
And you made that point too of like in the Rocky movies, he fights the guy and then you never hear from him again. In this one, they brought back all of his old enemies. They brought back Drago, and in the beginning, he's fighting Ricky Conlon. I think that's his name. Like it brings back and you see what happened to the guys from before, which was good because, like, yeah, they were top tier boxers as well. They're not just going to go away after one loss.
Yeah, like I want to know where Mr. T went.
Yeah.
That dude's a great boxer in the Rocky movies. It does feel, you'll see when you watch it on Friday, Damien is very similar style of Mr. T.
Is he?
They're not like friends or anything, but the way that how he acts, how he
Yeah.
fights is very similar.
Yeah.
And don't go into Rocky 2. Like, you saw Rocky 1. The fights don't look great.
Yeah.
This 2 is better than 1,
Uh-huh.
but it gets better with each movie. Like Balboa, which this is a hot take, is my favorite Rocky movie of all time.
Mm.
But 2 is the best to me, which is another hot take.
Okay.
But they learn, and I think they're learning in Creed too, that there's ways you can make fights different. They don't always have
Yeah.
to be like Rocky's getting his ass kicked, and then he turns it around.
Yeah.
Adonis is a great boxer. Adonis is going to fight a great fight.
Mm-hmm.
Which that is the one thing I didn't like about his fight against Ricky Condon.
In the beginning.
Like, he was getting his ass kicked.
Yeah.
I didn't like that. You're not Rocky. You didn't fight like Rocky.
Yeah.
Don't change it all of a sudden for this.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that's also a thing, like, with these movies, too, is that you have the come up, and the first one ends the same way the first Rocky ends, where he loses the fight, but it's a moral victory, and that's all well and good. But then it jumps straight to him being 36-1. And you're like,
Yeah, that's a
Like-
lot. That's anyone who watches boxing now, it's a little bit different. It takes a long time. Ryan Garcia, who's now been what? He's been professional now for like 3 years.
Mhm.
He's 17-0.
which is possible. You can go undefeated. It's not like,
yeah, but
rare,
you're not
but-
having 30 fights
yeah,
in 6 years. You
Yeah.
could.
you could, but it's
You would be on Mike Tyson pace, where Tyson was fighting 8 fights a year
Mhm.
at a young age.
Yeah.
Tyson wasn't doing that in his 30s. Mike Tyson's crazy though, because Tyson in his prime was fighting like when he was a champion, he was fighting like 3 fights a year, which is unheard of.
it's crazy.
So to even for this, I get what you mean. That is a little crazy.
Yeah.
I like how in the second one, so he loses the first one. The second one opens and he wins the belt.
yeah,
Like, it's just like that. But remember, Ricky Condon was going to prison, so the belt was left open. So
Uh-huh.
he was given the opportunity probably to fight it again.
Yeah.
Which was pretty cool. But I meant to ask this when we first started reviewing it, because we normally do this at the beginning of our reviews. What do you score this movie? Because I told you a score when we first saw it that I have changed over time. But
I
I'll give you
think-
yours first.
maybe like an 84.
I swear to God, it's the same number I have.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a fair score. Like, it was still a great movie. I think there's just pieces that could have been done better. There were a few missing parts, but yeah, I think overall it was a really, really good movie.
2023 is off to a rough start with us.
Yeah, it hasn't been great.
So we have Skinamarink, which you didn't give a score. You said it's an ungradable movie.
It's just such a weird film. Like,
I gave it a 68. I gave Plane a 70. We gave Ant-Man a 60, 63. I gave Knock at the Cabin a 55. Creed 3, we gave an 84, and then Cocaine Bear 65.
you gave Cocaine Bear 65?
I think, like, for my enjoyment, yeah.
I would have given it like a 70 something.
God, I thought you were going to say like 50.
No, I thought Cocaine Bear was pretty good.
Cocaine Bear was fun.
Entertainment wise, 90 probably. Like,
Yeah,
it
if
was
I'm
so much
just going
fun to watch.
straight off of, like, my entertainment scale, yeah, it's like a 90.
But as like an actual
This off my
movie,
entertainment scale is a 90 something. This
Mhm.
movie is thorough. I will watch Creed 3 probably once or twice more.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have the same. This one does not have the rewatchability the first two have. This is a much
Mhm.
heavier movie.
it's not as fun as the first two.
Yeah, and the second one's not super fun.
Yeah.
But like all the Rockies are super rewatchable.
Because the first Creed movie just gets me pumped up. Like the scene where he's running up the street to the boxing gym with all the bikes
With all the
going by him.
bikers.
Oh,
That's
gets me
crazy.
going every time, dude.
Dude, I can't wait till you're gonna get so hyped. If
I'm gonna be
you
giddy.
have anything else to say about Rocky 2, except like your hype, like if
Mhm.
you don't want to box after watching Rocky 2, we might not be able to be friends anymore. Like this, it might be the end of the podcast.
Oh, dude, when I got home from this, I started shadowboxing in my room. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I started throwing punches at the wall.
Oh, come on. Rocky 2 is going to get you hype.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Rocky 3 has the iconic speech from Apollo where he says there is no tomorrow.
Yeah.
Which I think is a super motivating scene. But I think once you finish the Rocky movies, I think we should rank them.
right.
Rockies and Creed, like all 9 together.
All right.
I think we both know what's going to be 9. Rocky 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably just going to sit down there by itself.
I should rewatch that, though, because I watched that, like, bits and pieces at
Yeah,
work.
so you watched 1 within like the last year or so, right?
Yeah.
So then you watch 2 and 3, and then 4 is iconic. 6 is a sleeper. I say this every time. Luke, who is a friend of ours,
6 is Balboa, right?
6, even Luke says, he's like, dude, he's like, you don't hear anything about it. He's like, that's a great fucking movie.
Yeah.
And it is. And I will sit with that. I don't want to say where I rank Creed movies with the Rocky movies because I think that's going to actually be a really fun episode to do.
Yeah. And they're very different.
And they are very. Two's quite similar to four. It's almost identical to four.
Uh-huh.
But I'm trying to think of what else I want to say about Creed 3. I think Michael B. Jordan has a great future in directing. Like, I think he has a solid chance to make some really good movies.
I agree.
As long as it's kind of like a glorified Zack Snyder. As long as he has someone that tells him, "Hey, I love what you're doing here, but let's trim it down a little bit."
Yeah, he needs to have like a no man.
Yeah.
Like I understand the anime influence at the last fight. I think it was just a little too much. There were scenes that weren't bad, like the double punch. It was cool, but the stuff with the prison wall coming down, it was just a little over the top.
Yeah,
But
no, I completely agree.
I think he just needs somebody to be like, "This is good, but just cut it down a little bit. It's a little over the top." But I think he's got a really good future if he wants to direct anything else.
Oh shit!
Dropped your phone again.
Yeah, my shorts are very slippery today. Well, do you have anything else you want to add about Creed 3?
No, I mean I think it was still worth watching if you're there. I know some people are upset that Rocky isn't in it, and me too, and he's definitely missed, but it's still a good movie even without him.
Yeah, I highly recommend everyone check it out. It hits theaters on March 3rd, this Friday. There's going to probably be a couple 7 o'clock showings on Thursday. Go check this out. I highly recommend you see it in IMAX because every punch is brutally loud.
Yeah.
I think it really helps the immersion with the film. And I just want to give a quick thanks again to IMAX. It was a really cool event we got to go to. And if you guys listen to this episode and post it places, maybe we'll get one for John Wick 4, and then you guys get a review a little early.
Please.
So, yeah, I think it was an absolute. It's a blast of a movie. It's still a great boxing movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, do you want to hop into suggestion of the week?
Sure.
I'm taking the first one this time.
All right, I actually
You
have one.
son of a bitch.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna recommend The Mandalorian, which
No, I'm not gonna
which
lie.
hit Disney Plus today.
I'm not gonna lie. My heart skipped a beat because mine starts with the and then an M. When you said The Mandalorian,
Really?
I was like, God damn it.
Well, mine's The Mandalorian. The first episode of season 3 dropped today at the time of this recording, and I watched the majority of it. Sorry, I didn't get to finish it. I was coming here to do this episode, but I think it's off to a really good start, and I'm very excited to see where this one goes.
Nice. Yeah, I gotta watch it. I gotta watch a recap of the first 2 seasons and then hop back into that because I love that show. But I'm gonna recommend The Man from U.N.C.L.E.
I just saw a clip from that today on YouTube,
It's good.
on Instagram.
It's not great. It's a very Guy Ritchie movie. It's fun. It's a lot of
Armie
fun.
Hammer.
That is true. Armie Hammer's great in it.
Crazy bastard.
He's pretty crazy in this.
He's who the joke from The Last of Us is written about.
Yeah.
He threw up his hands.
He's basically Ivan Drago in this too. More or less. Not really.
No,
That was stupid.
That
No.
was a terrible. You can't even quote that. You haven't even seen it.
I'm thinking of Russian dudes. I don't know what else to say.
He's nothing like Ivan Drago. Wait
he's
until you watch
nothing
the
like
movie.
He's goofy.
Ivan Drago is Captain America for Russia.
Yeah.
You'll see what I mean. It'll make sense more. Soviet Union, not Russia.
Yeah.
But
No, Man from U.N.C.L.E. is a fun movie though.
It's
It's
a
not
fun
great,
movie.
but it's fun.
I watched that when I got the bone infection.
Really?
Yeah, it was on the TV.
No.
But we have fan questions today. I actually did it today.
Awesome.
And the first question is, Tommy, how are you feeling? It's from Kelly.
Who cares?
Well, Kelly, fuck Ryan, right? But I'm feeling good. I moved into a boot, so I'm actually somewhat walking / hobbling around. And yeah, it feels good to be actually walking again. I don't feel as useless right now because Ryan used to have to actually come into my house and carry my laptop for me.
True.
But yeah, I'm feeling good. Thank you for asking. And then question number 2. These are a lot more personal questions I picked. What are you guys' plans for your vacation? This is from Liam. I don't want to tell them exactly where we're going because I don't want someone to show up where we're at.
Show up.
Because the town
some
we're
tips.
in is not a big place.
No.
We can say the state. We're going to South Carolina.
Yeah. It's where the balloon went down.
Huh?
The Chinese spy balloon?
Yeah.
That's where it went down.
South Carolina?
The town we're going to.
No, it's not.
I swear to God.
Ryan.
That was the last place it was in.
Do not tell people where we're gonna be.
Who cares?
I care. But
They don't know what house we're in.
can you imagine we're like sitting there just at the pool?
Yo, if you're gonna come, bring something.
Yeah.
And then you're good.
Bring me
You
some
bring a
beer.
gift.
If you bring me some beer, I'll let you hang out with us and our
Bring a
friends.
cake.
Did you say cake?
Yeah. Just bring a birthday cake.
None of our birthdays, but
We're
yours
getting
is coming
close.
up.
Yeah.
Yours is coming up
This month, both
this
of us.
month. Yeah, and I think our plans are pretty much just hang out, relax for a week, just kind of because all us and our friends. This isn't the only thing Ryan and I do. It's a needed vacation. We've all said it.
Yeah.
This has been a very stressful semester for all of us.
I'm excited to
Yeah, I'm
get the
excited
hell
just to
out of here.
relax. I'm excited to not worry about posting for the podcast at all. This will
Yeah.
all be set up and done this weekend.
Perfect.
But yeah, I think we're just gonna relax, maybe play around of golf. I'm really just gonna be caddying people.
Yeah.
But
I'm pumped for that.
I think it's
I'm
gonna be
ready to
fun.
play some golf.
And then this question is from Kurt. Top 3 songs right now.
Top 3 songs.
I'm actually, since I saw this question, I had my 3 ready. I'd probably say my top 3 right now are Paccaretti from With
Some French.
Confidence.
Yeah.
It's a very good song. I'm actually listening to the strip version a lot. Ryan showed it to me. Listen to Serotonin by Nick D. It's a very fun beach song. And then I'm kind of gonna try to cheat here and put 4. But I Feel Like Dancing by Jason Mraz and then Mary on a Cross from Ghost. Those are probably the 4 I'm singing a lot right now.
Yeah.
And then Not Enough, Big Time Rush maybe.
All right.
Just add that in there.
I've been on a pretty big country kick lately. So I got
Since
Charleston
Zach
Girl.
Bryan.
Yeah. I love country though. I've always liked country.
You do.
But I've been listening to Charleston Girl by Tyler Childers, the live version. It's very, very good. Annabelle by 49 Winchester is a good song. And this one is this is a strange one.
Okay.
But that NHL Slapshot game on the Wii, I kind of forgot, but it's got
like the theme song.
it's got a banger soundtrack.
Did
It is-
up NHL Slap?
Yes, it's on Spotify, and I'm gonna recommend "Unstoppable" by Foxy Shazam.
That's a great song,
Dude, banger.
I just realized I wasn't talking in the mic that whole time.
Yeah, no, you keep holding it away. Unstoppable, Foxy Shazam. Can't pronounce that, but banger.
So that's a good list.
Thank you.
Question number 4: Are you all nervous The Last of Us ending is going to feel rushed? This question's from Emilio.
I am nervous about that.
I'm not nervous because they haven't failed me yet. Every episode's been great.
Yeah.
So I feel like they knew they were putting this episode in there, and they knew that the pace was gonna be a little different.
Mhm.
I think they had a plan. I don't think Neil Druckmann would let his baby get crushed like this.
Yeah. No, I
I'm not
agree with that.
nervous.
I think they have a plan, but I am a little bit nervous because, like, we are getting up to the end, and in the state that the characters are in right now, especially Joel, the last 2 episodes of the show, they're gonna have a lot to do. So I am nervous, but if the last 2 episodes are both like over an hour, I think we're doing pretty good. If episode 8 is like 47 minutes or something, then I'm gonna be a little scared. But if it's like an hour 6 and the finale is like an hour and a half, which they haven't been afraid to do so far, I think we're doing pretty good.
I like that answer. This question's for you, actually.
Mm.
It's from Landon. Ryan, have you ever thought of doing stand-up?
I've thought about it. I don't know where I would.
You can do it. You can look up stand-up open mics.
Yeah, there's a lot of places in Philly. I've thought about it. I just don't have any. I don't have material.
You could talk about anything.
Yeah.
Like my dad wants me to go up and do one about I keep putting the mic down.
Yeah.
My dad wants me to do one about my mom was yelling at me one time.
Mhm.
Like screaming, like bloody murder. I did something fucked up. I don't remember what it was, but I just remember getting screamed at. I'm like 16. Yes, I was crying. I was devastated that my mom was screaming at me. She's like in my face. She's like, "You son of a bitch!" All this stuff, and I deserved it. This is nothing against my mom. My mom's a great parent. I love her to death. But my mom walks upstairs like stomping, like angry.
Oh,
My dad looks at me and he's like, Tommy, guess what? I'm like, what? He's like, did you see your mom's shirt? I'm like, no. He goes, namaste. My mom's shirt said namaste as she's freaking out on me. And I always thought it was one of the funniest stories. And my dad's like, you have to get up and just explain that. Or there's another story, but I don't think that's podcast safe. So I'm not going to say it on here. Not because I don't care about people hearing it. You know what story it is.
What? What?
Well, remember I looked something up when I was like 12.
Oh,
That
okay.
story.
Yeah.
Do you think I can
Oh
say that on a
boy.
podcast?
I wouldn't.
You wouldn't?
No.
No. We'll do. I will. I
I'd
promise the
leave that.
listeners. I will tell this story one day.
Yeah. No, I'd leave that to drafts.
No, it's gonna come on the podcast. I don't think right now because we're at like an
You
hour and
can't
45
mention
minutes.
that.
Well, I can when I'm actually. Yeah, you're right. I probably can't.
Yeah. You can
Yeah.
mention that a few years ago, but not anymore.
Not anymore. um. Oh my god, I lost the fan questions. But yeah, no, I think Ryan would do a very good job at stand up. I think Ryan's very funny.
Thank you.
Me and him were late playing Warzone the other night, and Ryan was just making me cry laughing for like 30 minutes. So I think Ryan's very funny. So I think he should do it. But good question, Landon.
Thank you.
Question number 6 from Aaron. Any updates that you can give us on the short film? I
We're
think
casting now, and there's
yeah,
not
there's
much to say.
we've
I
moved
don't know.
toward we're at the end of casting, I would say.
Yeah.
We've trimmed it down a little bit, but when we come back, this is actually what I did today, which I have to actually tell you. So works now that I'm talking to you.
Perfect.
But we're gonna have some meetings with some production companies
Awesome.
about doing the film with us and getting a crew to help us film it. But I mean, I've read the script twice this week, and I'm making slight changes. But all in
Yeah.
all, I think the script's almost set.
Yeah.
I'd say it's pretty close. Like it's close to being ready for table reads.
Yeah.
And then we'll make changes from there when we hear people actually doing the lines.
Uh-huh.
Hearing how everything goes. But then what do we have left? We have quote unquote screen test,
Yeah.
which will then lead into us making final casting decisions. We'll do table reads, and then in May we'll start production.
Mhm.
And then we have an editor already. That's finalized. But yeah, I would say we're a lot deeper into it than we thought we were going to be.
Yeah.
Because we thought the script was going to take a lot longer. That's why we aimed for May to film. But I think it's good that we got done earlier. Lets us be able to read it and edit things.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say that's probably all the news we kind of have for everyone right now.
Yeah. It's still, I mean, we're not close to like actually making it yet, but we're close to finalizing on who's going to be in it, who's going to be working with us, and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, we've been working diligently. And then final question of the day. This is from Derek. Thoughts on DC selling the Snyderverse to Netflix? Have you been seeing this?
No, is that a thing?
So people have been saying since Zack Snyder signed that big deal with Netflix to be there for the next 10 years or whatever,
Uh-huh.
people want them to sell the Snyderverse to Netflix and him make it on Netflix.
Mm.
So yes, that sounds all great in theory.
Yeah.
Jason Momoa is still Aquaman with the DC universe.
Yeah.
You don't even know if Ben Affleck wants to do it anymore.
Right.
Henry Cavill probably wants nothing to fucking do, but I actually think Henry might be the easiest person to get.
I think Henry Cavill would do it.
Ray Fisher, I think, would do it if Zach asked him.
Yeah.
Gal Gadot, I don't know. And Ezra Miller, we all know what's going on there.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things. And you would have to make a Justice League on a Netflix budget.
Mhm.
Netflix isn't putting out $350 million
No.
for a movie that's probably not going to release in theaters. Because I'm assuming if they did sell it, Warner Brothers would not let that play out in theaters.
No.
And fight against other projects that they're making.
Yeah. It would be really, really tough to make any sort of profit on them.
Yeah, so I like the theory of it happening, just so I could see Darkseid again.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's possible.
Yeah. I could see him maybe making like, if Warner Brothers would allow it, him making like a kind of like a lower budget Batman movie type thing. Like just something simple, like a one-off story. But I don't think
I don't think the
it's cool in theory.
Snyderverse is being sold.
Yeah, it's nice in theory, but I cannot see that happening.
I was a Snyder person, and I'm not a Snyder crazed person because I'm not in a cult
Because they're all losers.
and nuts. I've jumped with you at this point. They are horrible.
Thank you.
They are nothing but mean. They're just not nice people. They were mean to Ryan when Ryan made fun of them.
They're almost worse than Star Wars fans.
I think they've surpassed Star Wars fans.
Really?
Because Star Wars fans at least have accepted what they did
Star
wrong.
Wars fans shut up eventually.
Yeah, like
Snyderverse fans have not been
they've
quiet.
apologized for what they did to hating Christians in.
Yeah.
And they've accepted him. Like, and the prequels have now have this new love around them. I know Ryan doesn't have that love for them.
No.
But so I think Snyder fans are the worst fan base in the world.
Yeah, they're up there
They're
for
hard.
sure.
They're up there with Eagles fans. I love them to death, but they are not nice.
No.
But yeah, that's the end of fan questions. That's the end of this part of the show, and actually the end of the show. Thanks to Colin, who's actually not editing this. Our friend Nikki's actually going to edit this one for us. But thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure to continue listening to our show anywhere you can find podcasts: Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts. I think it's Amazon Music, Spotify, YouTube. This episode will not be on YouTube, sadly. We have some other things we have to do. Check us out on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. I'm gonna actually start tweeting a little bit.
Mm.
Might
Alright.
say some awful things, but
Yeah, that's
Phillies related. But
slippery slope.
it's a slippery slope for me to
Yeah.
go on Twitter. But yeah, I think this was a fun episode. Make sure to go check out Creed 3 and The Last of Us, which is on HBO Max. Creed 3 will be in theaters on Friday. Ryan, I'm going to leave you, of course, with the end of the episode, as we do every week. Is there anything you want to say to anyone before they listen to the next episode of the Popcorn Oscars?
I hope that Zack Snyder never makes another superhero movie again. See ya.